strange about games is you often, when you go in to record your lines, you often don't know where your part sits in the game. So they will try and give you as much information, but you don't always know, oh, this is in the first 45 minutes, or this happens, they'll say, oh, this has happened before, and so this is what's, they'll definitely try and give you as much info as possible. But even though I sort of knew I was at the beginning, I didn't realize quite what an impact, again, no spoilers, but I didn't realize quite what impact it would, if it's in the trailer. Oh, so hard. But yeah, I didn't know.
I know.
I'm like, people are like, no spoilers. I'm like, it's in the trailer. It's okay. But yeah, I didn't quite realize the impact. I mean, I knew how beautiful those scenes were. And Jen, the writer, it's everything she doesn't say.
Yeah.
It's everything she doesn't say. And I think we were saying beforehand, with games, it's ordinary people in these extraordinary circumstances. Yeah. And yes, we're not in the Expedition 33 Belle Epoque world, but we've all been through heartbreak, or, we both have children, we live those lives, and, the joy and the pain that surrounds all of that. And yeah, I think Jen was just able to bring so much to the characters and to the lines in such short lines. There's nothing superfluous. It's all succinct. And then there's so much unsaid that I think that's, for me, one of the reasons it just made it so real and so, like a stage play, like so magical.
Hi, I'm Billie Fulford-Brown. You may know me as the voice of Sophie in Expedition 33, and you are listening to Hawaii's #1 podcast, the Kasanova podcast.
Aloha and welcome everyone to another episode of Hawaii's #1 podcast, the Kasanova podcast. I'm your host, Mekel Kasanova, and today I'm joined by a very, very, very special guest, the one, the only, Billie Fulford-Brown. Billie, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm really well, thank you. Thank you so much, Mekel, for having me today. I'm so grateful to be on your amazing podcast.
It's an honor to have you on the show. I've been so nervous this whole week, so I'm like, oh my God, and it's crazy because I know I told you before we started recording, like I've been doing this for so long, but it's just one of those things where every time I hit record and I just get nervous, and I'm like, I gotta work through that. But
no, nerves are good. Nerves show that we care. Actors get nervous before you go on stage because you care about what you're about to do and you want it to be great and you love it. And I think, there are ways we can deal with nerves. We can talk about that later if you wanted. But I think nerves are good. I think if there's no nerves, I'm more worried. Like for me, if I'm not nervous.
All right. So definitely excited to have you on the show. I know a lot of you guys, when I put this out to my community, they're like, oh my God, you got the voice of Sophie coming on the show. I'm like, yes. So for the 5 people who don't know, maybe it's actually not 5, it's probably like 2 or maybe just be 1. I don't know. It's the internet. You can never tell these days. But for those who don't know, Billie is the voice of Sophie in Clair Obscur Expedition 33, the critically acclaimed game for this year that is just breaking charts left and right. It's got so many discussions from people all over. Just, divisive. We're not going to talk about the ending, but
Oh yeah, no, don't.
But
we can't go there.
So I have to ask you, were you shocked at how well received it was?
Yeah. So, there's always a story to everything. So firstly, I must say I'm the English voice of Sophie because there is an amazing French cast as well. So you can obviously play it in both languages. So if you want to check out a bit of the French, it is stunning. So, I don't speak French, but it's beautifully, oh my God, the acting is insane. So Sophie, with no spoilers, is not as present a role as some of the others. And so I was recording a lot less than some of the others. And so I think some of the other characters, obviously you've got, Maël, Lune, Ciel, Verso, Gustave, Rich Keeble, Monoka, all of those, they knew a bit more than I did. So I have to say that sorry if this is long-winded, please stop me.
No.
Sorry.
I love when my guests talk.
Okay,
Go ahead.
Sorry. So when I went into the studio, I definitely, we touched on this a bit before, I had a feeling that it was quite special. I'm very lucky that I work a fair amount in games, and obviously so many different genres and so many different styles. And I walked in, and like I said to you earlier, not only were Guillaume and Jen, the writer, there, which does happen, but it's not every time. I thought, that's interesting. I walked into the recording studio, and you have a big TV that normally has your Excel spreadsheet with your lines on it. And they had a huge screen of the graphics, and they were playing that first scene when Sophie and Gustave start chatting. And I was like, oh my God, I've never seen. And then obviously I get nervous because I'm like, oh God, don't mess it up. Like, you did a good job. And then they started playing the music by Lauriane Testard and Alice. And I was like, oh my God. So even though I didn't, because you just get a project code, right? So I didn't know what the game's name was. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't really look it up. I thought, no. I had a feeling it was quite special, but I didn't know that this would happen, if you know what I mean. I didn't know the reach it would have, but I definitely felt, even from just those few sessions then, just the love that was surrounding the game and the passion, and that it was just something quite magical was happening. Yeah, I had that feeling.
It's interesting too, because like that, we're trying not to spoil it for you guys.
I know you were very kind.
Like,
we can cut things. I was like, yes, please. This might have to happen if we say anything. Have you seen that meme of the episode of Friends where it's like, do you know what I know? Do you know? Can I tell you? Do you know? What I think you know? Do you know? It's like, yeah, we can't talk.
but it's like I'm so used to. So I one of the things outside of doing podcasting, I do work alongside the video game industry. I review a lot of games and such, and do testing and whatnot. And when it comes to RPGs, I'm so used to, I guess I'll use Persona as a reference, where it's like 2, 3 hour, 4 hour tutorial, just, it takes so long to get the story in motion. Whereas I played this, and I was playing with my partner, and we're like, whoa, that happened quick. And the story just kept going and going and going. And I'm like, I have not been gripped by, and I like to read a lot of nonfiction, fiction novels and such, as well as nonfiction. And I'm a very big reader. And so I'm used to books, because like books, I understand you have to have a certain build up. You have to grab your audience right then, and you have to hold on to them until the end. And so obviously video games are written very differently than novels and whatnot, but the way this was written, it just gripped you from start to finish, regardless of how people feel about how it ends. We're not going to talk about that. I did a 2.5 hour podcast with my partner, and we dove into the whole thing. So,
oh my God. Okay, good. Yes, that'll be another podcast in like 3 years when most people have played it and completed it. You can come back to the ending. Yeah, I think what's really strange about games is you often, when you go in to record your lines, you often don't know where your part sits in the game. So they will try and give you as much information, but you don't always know, oh, this is in the first 45 minutes, or this happens, they'll say, oh, this has happened before, and so this is what's, they'll definitely try and give you as much info as possible. But even though I sort of knew I was at the beginning, I didn't realize quite what an impact, again, no spoilers, but I didn't realize quite what impact it would, if it's in the trailer. Oh, so hard. But yeah, I didn't know.
I know.
I'm like, people are like, no spoilers. I'm like, it's in the trailer. It's okay. But yeah, I didn't quite realize the impact. I mean, I knew how beautiful those scenes were. And Jen, the writer, it's everything she doesn't say. Yeah. It's everything she doesn't say. And I think we were saying beforehand, with games, it's ordinary people in these extraordinary circumstances. Yeah. And yes, we're not in the Expedition 33 Belle Epoque world, but we've all been through heartbreak, or, you know, we both have children, you know, we live those lives, and, you know, the joy and the pain that surrounds all of that. And yeah, I think Jen was just able to bring so much to the characters and to the lines in such short lines. There's nothing superfluous. It's all succinct. And then there's so much unsaid that I think that's, for me, one of the reasons it just made it so real and so like a stage play, like so magical.
Yeah. Yeah. It really felt like, okay, so I have to ask the question. So, you know, obviously with your character Sophie and Charlie Cox's character Gustav, like, were you guys doing like in individual booths recording, or were you like together, like round, like?
No.
And I asked this question because you guys, your lines flow so well. It feels like you're there talking to each other.
Well, do you know? So I don't think this is giving any spoilers away, and maybe just making me look like more of an idiot than I normally look like. But basically, oh no, it happens often. I try not to trip when just walking down the road. But yeah, so basically, you're actually, I watched some of your interview with Elsie, and it's so interesting what she was saying, because you're basically never in the same room when you're doing video. I've been once. The room, one of her videos that she's in the room outside, I was like, yeah, that's the one room that I was in with someone else. So I have to say, absolutely hats off to Charlie Cox, because this is his first game. He absolutely came at it with so much. I spoke to the director, Jo Green, and she said he was so professional. He came in, he'd read the whole thing. Like, it was a 400-page script, right? He'd read the whole thing. He knew it inside out. He had all his questions ready. They did not have much time with him, right? Because he's a busy man. And he just nailed every take. And Jo just said he was, like, it was unbelievable how much they got done and how, like, proud and impressed they were. But also, he was playing off nothing. So he recorded first. So he was recording, with me at least. I don't know about the other people, but my scenes with him, he was recording first. I can't speak with Mael and everyone else. So I go into the studio and I see this beautiful image, and I start hearing the music, and then I start hearing this voice. And obviously I didn't know that it was Charlie Cox in my ears, because you don't get told anything. We're talking about this NDA. And even though now I know it's him, I'm like, oh God, of course it's him. He doesn't have like a super distinctive gravelly, like if I heard Sir Patrick Stewart, I'd be like, oh, okay, I know who that is. But I didn't know who it was. So I just had him in my cans, in my earphones. And so firstly, absolutely hats off to him, because he did his lines dry. He did not have my lines. So what an incredible job he did. And then what they have is, it's called sometimes a bando rhythm, whereby on your screen in front of you, you have the visuals and you have the well, it's not animation, but you know what I mean? You have the visuals playing. And then a line basically starts, you know, this starts coming along, and it kind of clicks in where you start doing your line. And that's what we had. So I had him in my ears, and I had the band coming along. And when it hits the bit, you do your line, you try and match it the best you can to the mocap face and the mouth movements, which was Estelle for me, who is just the most incredible person. I got to meet her a few weeks ago, and she did the mocap for, was it Sophie, Paintress, and Lune? I think she did all of them. She's and she's a stunt actress, phenomenal actor. And then they obviously in edit they can tweak it a little bit and pull the lines over. But all those lines where Charlie and I are talking over each other, it's because I had him in my ears, and then I had the band coming along, and then I would start talking to get that kind of natural overlap feel. But yeah, I have to say I was the lucky one. I just had to come in at the last minute and drop the lines in. Really, he smashed it. Like, he did such a great job. Yeah, so, it's very technical.
So, like, it is, and like, you know, I'm still relatively new to the field, but like, there's just so much to it. Like, so many moving parts. If any, like, honestly, for the viewers or listeners who will eventually get to see and listen to this, if you think voice acting is just, oh, I've got a mic, I've got my script. I'm going to read it. No. There's so much that goes into it. It's mind-boggling sometimes.
Yeah. Well, and it depends on the studio and the game. So sometimes you have a shotgun mic, which is like the long kind of pointy one, which allows you to have a little bit more movement. Sometimes you only have a, diaphragm condenser mic, so you can't really move. Sometimes you just have a head mic, which means you've got total movement basically, but you can't move your feet. Because obviously that will pick up because it's sound. Yeah. So it also depends like what studio. So you're sort of running, but you're like, can't move your feet so it depends what studio you're in. I mean, for me, I do have some tricks I can pass on. So, I always take my shoes off. If I've got jeans on, this is too much information. I always undo like the top button of my jeans. So they're not too tight. I'm like, it's too tight. And then for this one, and I do it a lot at home, I asked to turn out all the lights in the studio.
Yeah.
So I was in pitch black, just with the screen in front of me and my headphones, because the music is so evocative. And of course, no spoilers, but it's so evocative that I use a lot of like Stanislavski techniques, like theatrical techniques and emotion memory, and having that music, I'm getting goosebumps now, and the image in front of me allowed me to go to a place, And so, don't be afraid. If you're in the studio, say, could I please turn the lights off? Or could I have more light? Or do you mind if I take my shoes off? Or, because sometimes just feeling the ground under your feet, or just, all of that can help you get rid of the nerves and forget about the people over there behind the glass who are all watching you. And just really sink into the world that's in front of you. Yeah, it helps me anyway. Yeah.
So I'm going to pivot because with this podcast, I know like a lot of people are used to QA. I like to make it a little bit more organic. Yes, we're going to talk about the characters you've played, but I like to learn more about my guests. So I want to do a little quick pivot, and I want to know, are you more of a method actor or just how's your approach when it comes to acting?
So I've never trained specifically in method. So I'm definitely not a method actor, but I think there are definitely elements of it. So I think, to be honest, when I was, this doesn't apply to everybody because you see child actors, you see teenage actors who are just phenomenal. But for me growing up, I think I just hadn't lived enough life, if I'm honest. I hadn't lived enough life. And at 18, I went off and traveled around the world for 6 months on my own. I lived in Greece for 6 months, and I lived in Turkey. Then I went to South America for 3 months and accidentally got stuck there for 6 and had the best time of my life. And
there's a story there.
Oh, many stories. For another podcast, Mekel, for another podcast. There's another time. I'm very old now. But and I think living that life, and just as you get older and you go through heartbreak and all of that, I think I needed that to have that, all those emotions and those feelings and those world experiences and meeting different people from different cultures and different worlds, really, to London. Some people don't. That's what I'm saying. I mean, look at Stranger Things. I mean, what a cast of teenagers who absolutely brought it. But that wasn't me. I was not ready when I was younger. So I think for me, I do kind of tap into things I've experienced. And I think you have to be very careful with that. And I do have a therapist who I love. I mean, it doesn't happen that much in England, but I know people in other parts of the world are much better at that. We like to just pretend nothing's happened and have a cup of tea and just move on. But I think
I have a therapist, so I understand.
I think it's great. Brits are terrible. We are terrible. But because
we Polynesians are no better. We're no better.
But it can be very dangerous if those are the kinds of things that you are using to access for acting. You need to know how to draw that line and use it, but not get stuck or sucked back into it. If that's your process, everyone has their own thing. So it's not like I suddenly go, let me just think about that really sad time when that person died. But I can remember the feeling or the something that can help me and to create it as your own environment. So of course, in Expedition, like I'm not in that situation with my ex-partner about to go off on a crusade or whatever. But I can think, well, what is it as if in my life, this, And sometimes you have to do that in the booth. You know, I got that script the night before and I auditioned for a different character, which is a different story. So, you know, it's a bit like, ooh, pivot, quick turn. So yeah, you've got
I love your energy.
It's mad. It's a mad world. So yeah, you've got to kind of have things in your toolbox that you can access quite quickly in the booth, because you're not always going to have a lot of time to prepare. But yeah, I think everyone's so, that's what I love about this world now. We're also individual. I think just make sure you have what works for you and what is safe. So yeah, for me, it's not pure method, but there are definitely elements of it that I think we probably bring to our performances.
Okay. So I definitely need to ask, like, how did you get into acting? Was it always something you wanted to do, or you just kind of stumbled into it? Or like, let's step in the DeLorean. Young kids, if you don't know what it is, use Google, figure it out. I mean, you got smartphones, everything you need is right here. Anyways, let's hop in the DeLorean.
Yes,
let's
please.
go in the back.
My brother and I tried to save up for a DeLorean as children before we realised that they were thousands of pounds. Very sad. It's so depressing, isn't it? Yeah. So I think as a kid, I was actually really painfully shy. And as I got older, I quite liked the look of acting and I quite enjoyed it. And I realised I could like mimic people and do all these accents. And I was like, oh, this is quite fun. But I went to a school where that was kind of not the first option, shall we say. It was proper jobs, truth in inverted commas. So even though I loved it, and my grandfather was an actor and a performer, and my dad is an incredible artist, that creative side had definitely become more of a hobby for people in my family, but you went and got a real job. So I'd sort of quietly expressed interest that I quite might want to do it. I've got older brother and sister who were in proper jobs, the weird third feral child. And so my parents were like, well, go to university. And, you know, if you still want to do it afterwards, then we'll talk about it. So I went to university, obviously via South America. And that's another podcast. And yeah, I still wanted to do it. But I was a bit older then. You know, I was 23, 24. I'd done a dissertation. So my mum actually found this place that just did a 1-year course. And I don't think it even exists anymore, but it had teachers from RADA and Lambda. And it was for slightly older people. So you could do a job alongside it. So you could work like Monday to Wednesday and then train Thursday to Sunday. So I did that for a year. Absolutely loved it. Deep end broke me. It's like the classic, you know, completely broken by drama school, you know, peeled back the layers and horrific. But it was, there's a lot of that in London, like in the old school London drama schools of kind of breaking people to like find out who you really are and all that kind of stuff. But I think it was good for me. It toughened me up a bit. And I loved it. So I then became very determined to be an actor. And had like little bits of success on stage and all that kind of stuff, but it wasn't huge. And I was definitely finding it hard not having steady income and the uncertainty of it, and then losing parts because I was too short when they had auditioned me 4 times and they knew exactly how tall I was, or I was too blonde.
How tall are you?
I'm 5'3", which is respectable for a child, but not really for an adult. So. Sad times. But yeah, and I it all felt very out of my control. And I have so much respect for people who are acting as adults, because I found it hard. And that's when I did sort of fall into voice. So I still act and I still love it. And now I'm a bit older. I feel a bit stronger about it all. But voice for the last sort of 5 or 8 years has definitely been, more. But it's all the kind of, but this is the thing with voiceover. Sophie was my first like British human that I've ever played, because I'm always the characters, the accents, the creatures. Like for Blizzard, I do all, you know, demons and creatures and all of that kind of stuff, and all the Americans and the Germans and so that's kind of, all the kids, that's where I sort of end up. So yeah, Sophie was a big treat. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're Milsha in Another Eden.
Yeah, I am. Yeah,
and it's like
Milsha, she's like proper up there though. Like everything is so exciting. she's so fun. She's so fun, honestly. Yeah, she's great. Yeah, and then I'm like, I'm a condor in Dragon Quest Treasures. I'm like this crazy American sheep who's like in Foam Stars. I spend like hours just talking like that in Foam Stars, which I
love
love.
that
Yeah.
game.
Oh,
I
it's so
love that
fun.
game.
Yes, I'm Ramsey.
Yeah.
I'm the crazy American sheep. So yeah, I love it. But yeah, the acting is still in my heart, and I would never say never. We can act until we die, right? That's the beauty of this industry. Don't have to retire. But I definitely found some elements of it emotionally harder than voice, and financially harder. It's tricky.
Yeah, that's one of the things too. Like when I talk to a lot of my voice actor friends, they'll tell me like, hey, constantly be booking, get work constantly because, it's not the most, for those of you who don't know, it's not the most like well paying. I feel like there's some voice actors that have told me, hey, if you can get a role and it gets you a Funko Pop, you're good. You can go to conventions. You make a lot of money from that. But yeah, it's a wild industry. It's very wild.
I think games. So I do audiobooks as my like day to day bread and butter, and
That's
love
what I want to do, and I don't know how to get into that.
Okay, message me afterwards. I literally, that's my, I mean, I love games, but games for me are almost the cherry on the top because they're not as often. You sometimes aren't in for that long, or you might be in over 2 or 3 years, but that's okay. 3 hours here, 2 hours there. You're not in 9 to 5 every day. And once you've had your buyout for the game, you just get your session fee, which is your hourly fee, which is not crazy huge. But I think, we do the games because, we just love them. We love them. And the opportunity to play and be these characters and be involved in these worlds and the community. I mean, the gaming community is like, next level.
In good and bad ways.
In good and bad ways. In good and bad ways, for sure.
Yeah.
But I think, again, financially, like audiobooks are more regular for me. And so that's my kind of like pay the mortgage, pay the food, take the kids on holiday once a year. Or, that's my, but yeah, it's conventions, isn't it? Really, I think that's the way it's going for a lot of video game actors now.
Yeah. Like, for me, like, I was talking to my friend Chris, he's like, what are some of the things that you're looking to do within voice acting? Like, as far as like money and such. And I'm like, I just want to be able to pay a bill.
Yeah.
And he's like, audiobooks. It's like, how? He's like, well, I don't do that, but you'll figure it out.
I can help you on that. Here are my awards. Look at my desk. This is my shrine. This is my shrine. So audiobooks are like they're my thing. So yeah, message me after if you want any audiobook help. I will help you get started on your journey. No problem.
Thank you. Yeah, it's, and I feel like just in general, okay, so one of the things you mentioned, you say your siblings have the quote unquote normal jobs or regular jobs. And I'm in the same boat as you. I'm the youngest. So like, I come from a family of actors, singers, musicians, and I don't have that talent for music. I had to teach myself in a way, and basically if I can hear it, I can play it, so I can play multiple instruments, but I only did that so I could keep up with my siblings. I'm like, I'm not the runt, but I kind of am. But
I am.
Like being in the position where you're the one that's not doing the traditional job. Like me, I do a lot of freelance consultation for businesses, content creators, influencers, and such. I also do YouTube, podcasting, all that. So like a lot of people are like, "What do you do?" I'm like,
yes.
Well, what do I not do? And it's kind of weird because people nowadays, like even with the rise of entrepreneurship being more common now than it's been in ever, a lot of people don't know how to associate working for yourself / being a freelance contractor. They're like, oh, so you're playing online or you're playing in a booth. No, it's not that.
Yeah. Everything you've said is so true. And I think a lot of us feel that, and my family I'm super lucky. They're very supportive. even, 18 odd years ago when I still want to be an actor. They were like, okay. And so they still all supported me. I think they didn't really understand or, so it's crazy. I'll do this for a couple of years and then, and I think it has taken them, my parents especially, they're a bit older now. I think it took them a little bit of time to understand kind of a bit like, I think what you're saying, what we do day to day.
Yeah.
Like, well, what do you do? You're just at home. It's like, oh, well, no. I'm not. And it's just so different for them, it's so different to the world they grew up in. And the fact that we can do this, we are our own little businesses and we do this from home and we actually are like paying for our lives by doing it.
Yeah.
But they are so supportive now, but it definitely took a little bit of, always been supportive, but they understand more now. And it is hard because like you're saying, it's so hard to explain to people what you do on a day-to-day basis. Like, well, I just did a mocap for like a pixie and then I've got to just record this book and then I've got commercial casting and I've got to go into town and record this, and it's same for you. I guess you're like, well, I'm working with this content creator and then I'm got to edit this video and then I've got to consult with that person. And yeah, it's really hard. But I think what you're doing is so fantastic and you know what you're doing. You love what you're doing. So you just got to like stay strong and just, keep driving forwards.
The one thing, I'm not sure if you've run into this, maybe you have, but like, here a lot of people ask me like, so what are you doing when you retire? Like, you don't have a pension, you don't have this. And I'm just like, well, the benefit of what I'm doing is I can do it for as long as I want to. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people don't understand that, So I feel like a lot of people just assume. No, go ahead.
No, I was just eyeing the coffee. No, I think same as you. So of course, gotten a bit off topic, hasn't it? So I only opened a pension a couple of years ago, which my friends in real jobs were like, "Oh my god, like what's wrong with you?" But yeah, I don't really ever see myself retiring. Like maybe slowing down. I mean, AI, maybe pivoting, maybe something will change, but I kind of feel like, my dad's an entrepreneur and he really inspired me and he runs his own business. Well, retired now, because that was a normal corporate business. So he could retire from that. And I just think to be an entrepreneur, you have to be a certain sort of person and like ruthlessly determined and love what you do passionately. And I think for a lot of us, we don't see ourselves doing this until we're 70 or until we're 67 and then we stop. I'm like, what do you mean you stop? Like, what do you do? And because we're creative, whether you're creating this podcast or you're recording a voiceover or you're creating someone's content, that's all creative. And I am yet to meet a creative who's like, and I'm retired. It's like, that's in us, And so I think, do we want to probably slow down in our 60s and 70s? Probably. Have a bit more time maybe to travel or, visit kids when they're older or whatever. But I am ready to voice those grandmas and, be the old woman. Yeah, I think we're so lucky. We are so lucky to be creatives and be in this world that we live in where there are opportunities for as long as you want them, basically. If we just get AI under control.
Yeah, see, and that's another topic I do want to pivot to as well. But I just want to touch on this real quickly. But we're in a great time where being a creative is actually, praised. Whereas I feel like if I were to go back to, oh God, I'm dating myself by saying this, early 90s or the 90s, the 2000s or so.
The 80s. I was there with you. It's okay.
Like if we were to talk about it back then, people would be like, get a real job. Like it's not something that people would support to the way that they do now, but they're like, find your truth, embrace it, find what works for you. I love that there's not a negative stigma. Well, not as negative. Well, actually, no, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, what I'm talking about.
I agree with you. Yeah. I know what you're saying. Yeah. So, I agree. I think, like I said, my dad is the most incredible artist, but being an artist wasn't an option for him. as a job. You know, he was born late 40s, 1940s, like the other century of all the young people watching this. And, you know, he had to get a job, a proper job. And so I guess it's a double-edged sword because, of course, you then, and I witnessed this personally, so I don't say this sort of out of nowhere, but you do witness some people drifting a little bit because they want to do their own thing, but they're not quite sure what it is. But then saying that, I mean, I technically drifted probably through most of my 20s. But I always had a job on the side. So I always worked weirdly in like hedge funds and banks in London, contracting. So I had enough money to pay the bills whilst I was pursuing the creative thing until the creative thing could pay for itself. So I just think, you know, yeah, it's beautiful that we are in this world able to pursue our creative dreams. We're not hurting anybody. We're paying our bills. We're bringing art to the world in whatever form that is. And yeah, I think you do have to be a little bit driven, a little bit clever in your business terms as well, right? Because we are also a business. We are not just a creative.
Crazy too. You have to be a little crazy.
I mean, I think you've realized that this is my life, just all of the crazy, bring the crazy. But yeah, you know, I think it's beautiful that we can be, that creativity is so much more welcomed and not ostracized, but it felt, you know, 60 years ago, there was them and us and them, you know, there were almost different sectors of people, like, oh, they're the creatives. And now it's like, yeah, cool. Or you do voiceover, or I'm an actor, or I'm, you know, content creator. I'm pursuing VO. And yeah, I love that it's more accepted now. I think we're so lucky to live in this. Well, I've seen many other things going on in this world, but in terms of this, we are very lucky to be able to be creatives. Yeah. I feel lucky every day. Yeah.
All right. So now we got to pivot to the hard conversation. AI has got me at a point where I'm like, yeah, I got to get out of content creating because I can't compete with that. So,
interesting.
What are your thoughts on this? Okay, so it's actually a very short amount of time because I feel like AI really got kind of dropped on people in 2021. And in literally 4 years, like, we have videos being made with Google VO3 that you can't tell it's not real people. And it's just, what is going on with this? Like, how do you feel about it?
So I have a few feelings. I think firstly, AI can be fantastic in many people's lives. So I do have, even as a voice actor, I don't want to ever say all AI is terrible. It shouldn't exist. Because for loads of people, it's really a blessing in their life and it helps them get through their daily life. And there are many areas where AI is really very incredible. I think in terms of creativity, I sort of feel like, it's a bit of a toddler throwing its toys out of the pram at the moment. I feel like it hasn't quite found its place. But I also think in terms of, well, voice acting especially, I probably can't talk so much to acting because I'm not in that world as much. But I feel like you're always going to have people who want to go to IKEA and you're always going to have people who want to hire a carpenter.
Yeah.
And I just think that maybe in 10 years, we'll have no work. I don't know, because it's advancing so quickly that in 10 years, I really can't say. But I think at the moment, I think there might be less work coming, but I think there will be work. So I think we have to make ourselves indispensable. You know, when someone's thinking of an audiobook or they're thinking of a voice acting role for a game, we want them to think of us. I think in audiobooks, of course, there are many AI books already out there. I do a lot of romance audiobooks as well under a pseudonym, which I love. I love Romance World. And the romance listeners they don't want AI. You know, it's all about, no, because, so people think romance and they're like, ooh, and of course some of it is not safe for work, but some of it is just beautiful contemporary love stories and beautiful characters and the most heart-wrenchingly gorgeous relationships. And that's what people want to listen to. And that's what AI can't create at the moment. The narrative it's actually not bad. I've listened to some, and I have to say some of the narrative AI voice is okay. It's pretty good. But when you get to the relationships, or if there's a fight or a breakup or someone cheats, or if something happens emotionally, it cannot cope. Like, it doesn't have the nuances, and it doesn't have that beauty that we bring as human actors. And I think in games, I mean, AI has been in games since the 80s, right? So we can't just go, oh, there should be no AI in games. It's misinformed. But how it's used in games is very important. And, the SAG strike ended yesterday, so this is very exciting. So things are changing now again. Will they use AI for some of the smaller NPCs? In some games, probably, because of budget and time. And I don't agree with that. But can I blame someone for trying to utilize a technology? I don't know. Like, it's not my place, I don't think, to, I don't know. It's very difficult. But I hope that people keep using human actors, because even the NPCs are so important. You're not just guard number 3. Like, why are you saying your line? What have you been through? Sometimes the player's interaction with an NPC can be so powerful, and it can be so moving just in 2 or 3 lines, that I hope it doesn't, I hope that doesn't go to AI and they just keep the lead characters as humans. But I don't know. How are you feeling? What do you think about it all?
Okay, so I'm of 2 minds. The tech enthusiast aspect of me is like, oh, this is pretty neat, the stuff that's going on. Like, and I feel like there's a blanket term for AI that a lot of people don't understand, that there's AI in different things. I mean, what do you guys think Siri was, or Google Assistant? Mm-hmm. Or if you really want to be technical, autocorrect is kind of AI as well, to be honest. There's some cool aspects to it, where like we have a lot of headsets and microphones that have AI noise cancellation built into it. So if you're in a noisy environment, it fixes that. Or AI built into cameras to do bokeh effects, kind of like what I'm using right now with Riverside.
So clever.
There's so many different aspects of AI. It's not just a catch-all, but there does need to be, in certain aspects where it can replace human work, I think there needs to be checks and balances put in place sooner than later. Like, especially out here in Hawaii. And I think I may have touched on this on a previous podcast briefly. I think it was along with Evil Adair from Street Fighter. But culturally, I'm going to be very delicate about how I'm going to go about this, because I got feedback. People were very angry about how I said it, but people, I don't blanket the truth. Culturally, okay, I would say this. Education is not really that pushed, or, some families, some more affluent families out here, push it. But for a lot of people, they drop out of school in middle school or high school, more likely middle school than high school. And so there's that. There's the lack of understanding how technology works, how to use a computer, how to use certain things. Like, oh, I don't know how to do that. And a lot of people feel the service industry, which is, hotels and, tourist economy. That people within that parameter, again, all police, I'm not saying all, but people within that parameter, will be hit the hardest. And it's a lot of young people. And I'm shocked to see people in their 20s, their early 20s, or 18, 19-year-olds who don't know how to do certain things. And it's like the AI, we're slowly starting, because I live in Waikiki. So I'm seeing businesses that are constantly incorporating AI. There's a lot of restaurants you can go to here where there are no servers. There are no, waiters or anything. It's all AI. Yeah. And the slow push, which, I mean, if you want to put a tinfoil hat on, you can. When they started making us do self-checkout and do certain things without people.
Yeah.
That was kind of a slow,
It was.
hey, this, you know. So I feel like a lot of people here are going to get hit very hard. And there's a lot of jobs that truthfully may not need, you know, certain people, but it's just, we need the checks and balances because right now it's the wild, wild west and nobody knows where this is going. When it comes to content creating, I feel, and I've said this and so many people get mad at me for saying this, but I'm like, if you're a content creator, especially a YouTuber or anything like that, you probably got 5 years tops.
Yeah.
And even YouTube, I'm a YouTube partner. My partner manager, I won't say your name for anonymity, but even she's told me, she's like, yeah, about 5-6 years.
This is the thing, isn't it? I think, like you said, you know, AI, it has a place. It can be incredibly useful to many, many people. But I think we're almost only seeing the tip of the iceberg in terms of real jobs. Like, so my husband's Chinese Malay and my brother lives in Singapore. So when we go over there, and of course their tech is incredible, but we're in the hotel and there is a robot like plate collector.
Mm-hmm.
And it just whizzes around and you pop your plate on and it takes it to the kitchen. That's 4 or 5 jobs gone, just like that.
Yeah.
And even if not all the jobs are gone, maybe 5 jobs have gone to 1 job. But that's really that's really caught my attention. So people are leaving school in middle school or high school. Is that legal? Sorry, forgive my ignorance, because it's like you have to be in school until you're 16. Well, not everyone is in school until they're 16 here, but it's pretty strict here.
Legal, gray area, but it's so common. Like Hawaii for the longest was the lowest when it came to like education scale amongst all 50 states in the U.S. We were at the very, very bottom. Oh
my God.
So it's like, it's not, I'm trying to tiptoe around it, but it's like,
and it's very nuanced. I'm sure it's not a black and white situation, is it? So yeah.
So it's like the perspective of education, and I understand like the history of Hawaii is very tumultuous in a way. You know, we still have some of us Hawaiians that do want it to go back to a kingdom, but at the same time, is that realistic in 2025? No, because if America's not here, other countries are going to want to come here because military strategicness.
Yeah.
And there's just so much that it's like,
so complex. It's so complex.
So like my whole thing with the education, and I saw this when I was working in IT, because I ended up becoming a senior security analyst.
Okay.
And so like when it came to like hiring people, that was another thing I ran into, and I believe my partner's running into it with the company she's at. She's seeing it too, where it's like a lot of people here will say, hey, there's no jobs. But the reality is there's a plethora of jobs. There's more jobs than we could hire people. But the problem is skill set, education. And when there's not that, and a lot of people here would be like, why are there people from the mainland or international that get to come here and get these jobs? Well, that wouldn't be a thing if we incentivized in their culture education. Sticking with it. So it's like it's kind of like an Ouroboros. It kind of
it's so complex, because I think also we're only just really seeing like the explosion of smartphones with children 4 or 5 years ago. We're only just sort of getting a grip on that and understanding that. And I wonder if, and this is just my own conjecture, but I wonder if there's a whole kind of group whereby, oh, well, I'll just be a YouTuber, or I'll just check this on my phone. And, you know, and actually, like you're saying, those jobs, okay, the presenter, physical person, yes. But a lot of the other jobs of being a content creator and stuff are going to go to AI. And I feel really sad for that kind of teenage group at the moment who were almost these guinea pigs with these smartphones. And now they've got to kind of find their way back into reality, basically, and real life and real jobs. And I think, you know, when it comes to, and all of this kind of comes full circle, I think whatever job you're doing, whether it's a server or it's, you know, working in a supermarket or it's a voice actor, I just think we have to make sure that we are doing the kind of job and such a good job that we are not replaceable.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, you must have heard it. Sometimes you listen to a book or you listen to a game and you think, excuse me, and you think, is that AI? Mm-hmm. And it's like, if you're a human doing that, like whatever your job is, you like, we need to be so good and so nuanced and so irreplaceable, you know, because otherwise it is coming for us. Yeah. It is coming. Terminator is going to happen. Sometimes. Yeah.
Like one of the things I get to do is I get to speak at the colleges and high schools out here to the youth. And I feel like a lot of it is done with, you know, the state is trying to like circumvent that issue when it comes to education and get the kids to stay in school. Because a lot of them do. They want to become an influencer. They want to become I know a lot of the girls out here are doing OnlyFans, and I have opinions on that, you know, and I'm not trying to shame anyone, but when you're young, you tend to make decisions that you don't think in the long run how that's going to affect you. But, you know, so when I talk to the students, I basically try to tell them like, okay, yes, I understand you want to do this, but you also need to understand that there's only a certain percentage of people that are able to make this profitable. And when you break that down, that's not to dissuade you to saying that you can't do it, but you need to understand there's a high probability I'm not going to be successful in this. So what are my contingencies if this doesn't come through? Or what can I do in parity with it so that I can still pursue this, but I'm also financially stable? And a lot of them, they don't think about that. They're like, oh, I can just start a YouTube channel and blah, 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 blah. And many of them, I check in with them every so many months and they're like, hey, you know, I've been at this for 3 months, 6 months, a year. It's not taking off anywhere. I'm so dejected. What do I do? How do I grow? And I'm like, well, this is what we're talking about. You know, you have to have some type of contingency, and especially now we're getting to a point. I know you were saying like the presenter and everything with YouTube. With a lot of the technology, I've been to a number of trade shows, and they now have AI influencers that you cannot tell that they're not real.
No,
it is mind-boggling.
Oh, I didn't know that.
When I was at the CES Consumer Electronics Show, and I got to go off the floor and see some of the stuff behind the scenes, I'm like talking. Like I went in this room and I was talking. They're like, "Oh yeah, this is our influencer. You know, have a conversation." I'm having a full blown conversation. Had no idea it was AI.
No, that's scary.
Yeah, I'm like the inflection, the tone, all that, and they're like, "Yeah, this is going to be the future of content creating." I'm like, "Well, the writing's on the wall."
Yeah, but again, it is the future, but it's not exclusively the future, and I think that's the thing. Yes. You've got to make yourself indispensable and irreplaceable. And I think, you know, like you were saying, you had basically a whole career in IT. I had a whole career basically in like banking and stuff. And my parents, even though I was like, I just want to be an actor, like, thank God that they made me go and get kind of a degree. I'm not saying everyone should do that, but that was the right thing for me. A qualification, which meant that during my 20s, whilst I was trying to become an actor, I could get a good job and pay my bills. And I think, yeah, everything you're saying just really resonates, because I think there is an element of, but I'll just do that as my full-time job. Yeah. I don't need to do anything else. And as we all know, like, the internet is so fickle. I mean, you must have this. I don't understand social media at all. I'm an old woman in her 40s. I post something and it has like 500 views, and I post something else and it has like 100,000 views. And I'm like, what? And it's so hard to understand those algorithms and how it all works. Yeah. And to make that a job is like, that's all consuming. And hats off to those that do. But yeah, I think we do have to be really mindful. And I know we've both got, you know, young families, of making sure that there's, I don't want to say a dose of reality, because that makes it feel a bit like sad and a bit cut you down, but almost a little dose of reality of, yeah, cool if you want to do this, but you do need a backup plan.
Yeah.
You know? And yeah, so hard.
No, and honestly, since we're talking about that, I kind of want to circle back to one of the things that you said earlier with acting and having a therapist to kind of round that out. There's a lot of influencers that I know that millions of followers or, very big ones and have some of the worst mental health right now because it's so all consuming. And I'm happy that we're in a time where mental health is not a stigma like it used to be.
Yes.
Which you young people, you may not understand that.
It was not acceptable. It was not acceptable.
No. You told anybody back in the day, oh, yeah, I'm in therapy. What's wrong with you?
Mm-hmm. But you wouldn't tell anyone.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's, and I'm guilty of it too, because I've at one point earlier in my career doing YouTube, because I've done YouTube longer than I've done podcasts, say like 15 or 17 years. And there was a point where it's like I was losing myself in it. My partner would be like, hey, you need to pump the brakes, come back to reality and such. And it's just like you're constantly looking at trends and algorithms and trying to hop on this and hop on that. And it's so easy to lose yourself. But I keep trying to tell people, the thing is, you're playing with a number that you can't control. It's not tangible. Your viewership, you have no control over that. If it takes off, it takes off. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Move on.
Completely.
I know I upset people today that, because I've been covering the Nintendo Switch 2, and there's been so many angry people like about that, and I'm just like, come on, there's other things going on in the world. Are you really mad about this? Of all, maybe it's just because I'm older. I don't know.
No. I think it's a mixture, and I think, I have limits on my phone now. So, and I know you can ignore them, but I am pretty strict with myself. So I have an hour limit on all my social media. So once I've hit an hour combined, it shuts down. Yeah, sure, you can say ignore, but you can also download an app which does then lock your social media. And I think it's really important. And I have someone who actually helps me with my romance social media for audiobooks. So I don't have to even worry about that. I have an assistant who helps me with some of my, because I'm not an influencer. I'm an actor. And it's so easy for me to get sucked down rabbit holes of, oh, but they got that many likes, and, oh, how do I get that person? And what hashtag should I do? And da-da-da-da. And I lose hours because I don't understand it. I lose hours. And so I think it is really important to be able to step back and turn it off, in the evening or whatever it is. One of my lovely audiobook producers, maybe this job will go to AI, who knows in time. But he was like, we're not saving lives. We're just reading a book. Or, we're not saving lives. We're just recording a VO for a game. And it's true. Like, we should be able to switch it off. We don't need to reply to an Instagram message at midnight. Like, we don't, And I think it's scary. And you can get not nice messages coming through, and it can be, like you're saying, even with the Switch, it can be very divisive, and people can be quite mean. And I think, I'm older and tougher lizard skin now, that, I can brush it off, but it can still be hurtful. And when you're younger, I think it is really important to protect your mental health, even if that's just saying, right, I'm going to put an app on, which means that I can only check everything for an hour and then it turns off. Or hire someone to almost be like your vetting for your Instagram or something. And they can send you any important messages. And it just means that you don't have to constantly be checking things, because like, it is reality, but it's also not reality, but it's a hard balance when you're an entrepreneur, and it's our job and it's our business, and it's, and now if you're looking to get cast in a game, they will look at your Instagram and they will look at your TikTok, and it's like, oh God, I need more followers because then I'll get. But you know what? If you're a really, really, really good actor, you can make connections outside of social media. You can contact people. You can go to, GDC or whatever it is, and just, even if you meet one person, great, keep that contact. you know, in-person connections are still so important in this world. And you can follow that up online. Great. Follow them on Insta or TikTok, whatever. But yeah, I think it can be quite a scary place. Yeah. Or have a break for it.
And I feel like we're kind of like the last generation that came up without, you know, the internet and social media being. Well, actually, we're before social media, and we actually see it start. And we're not aging. We're not disclosing our age, people. But nonetheless, we got to see it get to where it is.
Wrinkles.
You know, we got to see where it is now, and it's like it's been an interesting ride. But when it comes to the younger people who have put their whole identity into it, they're seeking that false validation of, oh, I'm a good person, or I'm pretty, or I'm this or that because of how many likes and engagement, and that's a dangerous road to go down. You know, and I have all girls, so I'm
I have
very terrified of like what happens when they get sucked into it, because there's going to be a point where they're going to get obsessed with it. I don't know what it's going to be like, because the world that they're growing up in, I didn't grow up in. You know,
no, I think I think all we can do is at home as the parents just try and instill in them, you know, strength and courage and kindness and being a good friend and reality, you know, like take them to beaches where they see bodies of all different shapes and sizes in bikinis and swim shorts, and let them see, you know, take them to local swimming pools, whatever it is, because again, you know, slightly down a rabbit hole, but that scares me, that what people see online is all AI, airbrushed, not reality, you know, and be strong. Great. Like I strength train every week. I love it. I love lifting weights, but I love food. You know, you don't have to be skinny, strong. Great.
It's such a balance.
Such a balance. But I think, I think exposing them to different countries and cultures and just let them see everyone from every walk of life. I think it's so important that then they can actually see what is real and not just is. And even if that's just like, not saying you have to take them away everywhere, because, you know, the world is expensive at the moment. We all know that, but choose what TV programs you watch with them.
Yeah.
You know, we can say on a Sunday afternoon, hey, let's all watch this show or whatever it is, and let them experience what real life is and not just through the phone. But it's so nuanced, isn't it? It's so complicated.
Yeah. And like, so one of the things, I'm very big into fitness. I'm in the gym every day,
nice.
3 o'clock in the morning, like a maniac.
Oh my God.
But I do that on every day, and then I also do yoga on the weekends. And so, you know, because I post fitness pictures here and there, I caught the attention of a lot of fitness companies. So I've kind of gotten into fitness influencing.
Brilliant.
And it is, young people, diversify your income. Very important to do. Anyways,
fingers
one
and
of the things, you know, so one of the things I've seen in the fitness the fitness influencer world is how fake so much of it is. And, you know, I made an announcement like, yeah, I'm doing fitness influencing. I'm partnering with Insane Labs. I'm doing stuff with Muscle Tech and all this other stuff. And I'm like, yeah, but a lot of the people that you see, and they have these ripped bodies and all this, they're using an app. That's not how they look. Like, oh, just do this to get abs. No, actually, abs are built in the kitchen. It's not. You can't target belly fat.
Yeah,
you know, it's just so much of it is.
It's just the reality of real bodies are just real bodies, and it doesn't mean that you can't be strong if you sit down and, you know, like mine, your tummy kind of comes over the top of your trousers. Fine. But it doesn't mean you can't be like strong as well. But that's also natural. Like we're all, you know, beautiful humans, and we're all different people, and we're all built differently intrinsically. And I think that's something that does scare me a bit, because, you know, I met my husband when we were at school, when we were 8, and that's another story. And, I have literally been this size and height since I was 11. Like literally. Wow. Like I basically haven't changed. And that's just my physical makeup. Like that's just how it is. And I think it's very dangerous for anybody in this world to ever compare yourself to somebody else. Oh, but they eat so much and they're so slim, or that everyone's metabolism is different. Everybody's body shape is different. Everyone's intrinsic, you know, just how your body works is different. And I think learning what your body is and accepting it and working with it and not against it is so important. And I try to instill that as much as I can in my girls. Because, and you must see this with yours, they're so different, even though they're the same, they're so different. And a lot of it is just their intrinsic biological makeup. And we can't, you know, you can't always change that. We must all have those friends who eat, you know, 3 Pizza Huts a night and they're still tall and willowy. But
like how? How do you do that?
We're all different. Metabolism. And I think that's, like you're saying, it's so important to instill that in people, that what they're seeing online is not necessarily reality. It's not true, you know, and we can't keep comparing ourselves to other people. Yeah. You know, weight's brilliant, especially as us women getting older in our 40s and 50s. Very important to be lifting weights and be strong. But that doesn't mean I'm going to look like the next person in the gym. And that's okay, because we're different people and we should all celebrate each other and ourselves. And AI in terms of imaging has a lot to answer for, I think, in terms of what people think is real, a real body. What is a real body?
Very true. Okay. Yeah. All right. So pivoting over to, I guess, a happier note. I could talk about the gym since now I know you like to work out as much as I do. I'd be like, hey, what do you think of people who just, you know, the workout they're doing is sitting on a machine and just doing this? I hate that.
Or they're just filming themselves.
Yes.
I'm there like grunting in a very special manner, trying to do some kind of very heavy RDL. Good times. But do you know what? For games, it is important as an actor to be fit and healthy. That's a very sweeping statement. Especially if you want to do mocap, it's incredibly physically exhausting. But even just being in a booth, sometimes it's a 4-hour session. So having a base level of fitness, like, it is helpful. It's very helpful. Yeah. So yeah, it's only going to stand you in good stead, shall we say.
Okay. So, rapid fire questions. 1, what is your favorite place to travel to? Number 2, what are your favorite foods to eat? Number 3, what is your favorite hobby that people may not know?
Okay, number 1. So it has to be Asia, which I know is broad. But I love South America, but I don't think I'll get back there with kids for a while. So, but like I said, because my husband's family's in Malaysia and my brother's in Singapore, the people, the food, the culture, I love it. I love traveling around Malaysia, going into Singapore, hopping over to Thailand. We went all around Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, all of that. It's just the most stunning landscapes, the most beautiful, welcoming, kind people. And food. I do love Malaysian food. I am biased, obviously, but oh my God, my mother-in-law is like the most unbelievable cook. And my husband as well, but her food is next level.
Better.
It's really good. It's really good. She's really good. So I would choose, if I was having takeaway, I would choose Malaysian every time.
Okay.
Penang curry every time. A hobby. Well, I don't know if
Malaysian
it's a hobby.
Curry.
Oh my God, can't go wrong, right?
No, you can't. Oh God, see,
so good.
I know what I'm having tomorrow.
Yeah, I know. We're all out having a Penang curry. And then, well, I mean, I have started to try to get more into gardening because my garden is a mess and I'm obviously old now. So this is what I should do. But one thing that I used to do and I still do with the children is I used to be a children's magician. And I still make really good balloon animals. So, so when we're bored, sometimes I'll whack the balloons out and make a penguin or a monkey in a tree or some swords or a dog. The Dalmatian is quite good, actually. It's quite a good balloon animal. But yeah, so I used to be like a full kids magician and I still have a box in the loft labeled magic. which I can't wait for the kids to find when they're older. Like, magic. It's like the Harry Potter loft. Like, what is it? They'll be very disappointed. But yeah, so they're probably my weird things. I love yoga. My mum's a yoga master, so I've grown up doing yoga my whole life. So yeah, I love yoga, and I grew up in the countryside, so I love just being, but I'm in London now. So it's, yeah, nice to get back out to the countryside. I love travel, been to Hawaii a long time ago now, but I loved it. I want to go back. It was a beautiful country. But yeah, I'm trying to think of any other weird things. I don't know if there's anything else too weird. I love knitting. That's quite weird, isn't it?
Oh, really? What all do you knit?
Well, I quite like to knit a bootie, like a little baby bootie. They're quite cute. My mum is like some 16th century queen and spins wool in our house, like on a spinning wheel.
Whoa.
Yeah, I grew up probably weird house, my creative madness. Yeah, so she, has a spinning wheel, and she did lace, like with all the bobbins, like all the,
Yeah.
So I grew up doing lace and knitting and sewing, and I grew up in 1600s England, as you can all tell. So, but yeah, I still love all of that. It's a bit embarrassing, but I love to knit. It's very therapeutic.
Okay. Okay. So, the awards that are behind you. So you've gotten awards before. You want to clue us in on that?
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. This is my desk. I have to keep them in here in my office. I'm in the garden because my kids keep trying to steal them. So this is just where I keep them. So these little medallions here. So I've got another one, two more. These are at the Audies, which is the audiobook awards every year in March. Normally in New York, but they were in LA last year. If you get nominated, there are maybe 5 or 6 nominations per category. You get a little medallion. And so you get to wear it round at the awards so everyone knows that you're nominated. Because if you get nominated, it's kind of like winning. Like, it's really cool. It's very, very, very special. And then the glass ones are One Voice Awards. So I've got 2 audiobook awards up there for books. I did one of Alice Oseman's first books, who did Heartstopper. I did Loveless. And then I've got an audio drama award from One Voice, which was for a Doctor Who that I did with Big Finish. So that's that. And then I have the Audie. So last year, I've been really, I'm trying to channel my friends being like, be proud, because I'm very British and I'm terrible. So last year I was up for the best fiction narrator at the Audies in LA. And I'll tell you quickly, because it's another moment of me massively embarrassing myself. Delightful. And I was up against Ethan Hawke and Meryl Streep. So I was like, well, I haven't won, and that's absolutely fine, but I'll go to LA because I've never been, and I had the nicest day, and I just wasn't nervous or stressed because I knew I hadn't won. And they announced the award, and so I started clapping the winner, and my friend nudged me and went, "It's you." And she literally has a video of me clapping the winner and then looking at the stage and being like, and then she had to like push me up. And obviously I hadn't prepared anything. So my lovely friend, John Pehala, he's a great, if you like kind of sci-fi and fantasy, John Pehala, I'll send you some of his stuff.
Okay.
He told me, he was like, just write like a couple of bullet points just in case. So on stage, this is being live streamed, I had to like turn around, get it out of my bra, like what an idiot, a tiny piece of paper like that big that had 4 bullet points. And my acceptance speech was literally like, thank you to my husband and Penguin Random House and my director. Like literally that was it. It was like the worst speech ever. And I was like, and the author. I was like, yeah, so like an absolute idiot. And then I think I went into like full medical shock. And yeah, so there's the award. But yes, it's cool. So I can be like, I beat Meryl Streep. And then we won another one this year as a multicast, but I haven't got that award through yet because it takes a while for them to come through. So, yeah, we got another audie this year. So yeah, so it's good fun. Love an audiobook.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So is there anything you want to leave the audience with before we go? Any advice? Anything you want to plug? that doesn't have an NDA attached to it. If he does, I mean, we can always cut it out later. But, you know how it is with these NDAs.
Oh, it is secretive. We were saying it's like we live in MI5 in video games. I do have some things coming out, but I definitely don't even know what they're called because I only have a project code. But I know they're quite nice. But I couldn't even tell you if I wanted to because I don't know what their name is. I think I would just say to anyone who, well, firstly, massive thank you to you for having me and letting me waffle on all my rubbish. And to the gaming community, like, even though I've done games for a little bit now, I've been NPCs and I've been smaller characters and, you know, bits and pieces. And I am like so indebted and grateful to everybody who's playing the games and supporting and cosplaying Sophie. Like, oh my God, that it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
So, oh my God. And the fan art. And I just, yeah, the community is blowing my mind of how it's just gorgeous and welcoming and friendly and lovely and supportive. And it's really blown my mind. So I'm massively grateful to everybody. And I would just say, yeah, like, I suppose maybe this is contradictory. I say to my kids sometimes, like, follow your dreams, but you do need to be realistic. You know, I think you sort of know what you're good at, right? I would love to be a singer. I'm not. I can sing a song in a game. I can sing to my kids at bed. I'm not going to be on the West End. And that's fine. But it would have been easy for me to pursue that because I really love a musical. But I had to be realistic. I was like, no, check myself. That's not where I'm going to end up. And I think following our dreams is really important, but not to the detriment of our mental health, of our family life, of our physical well-being. So I think, yeah, find people in real life who support you and in the gaming community who support you. Get people out of your life who are doing you a disservice. Like, life is too short. You know, life is too short if you're, I don't know, hanging out with people, socializing with people, and you come home and you don't feel good about it. Maybe it's time to not see them so much and surround yourself with the people who support you and big you up and make you feel fantastic and like $1 million, because those are the people who are going to see you through. And yeah, just like, champion yourself. Yeah.
That is, no, that's so true. And, you know, I have, for a bit there especially with my Instagram and my Facebook, I would post saying like, hey, you know, if you're quiet when I'm making moves, but then you're loud and want say, hey, I know that guy. Hey, can you do me a favor when you see I'm doing stuff? That's no. You know, a lot of people can be energy vampires, parasitic in a way, and you have to protect your energy. If there's a lot of people they'll say to me like, "Hey, Mekel, you've changed," and I'm like, "I didn't work this hard to stay the same."
Absolutely,
that's not what we're doing.
No, but and I no, absolutely, and I think there's a couple of things which I really live my life by. And this, my sister's 11 years older than me, and she, you know, brought me up a lot of the time, you know, because I've got other siblings and my parents were busy, you know, with all of us, as it sounds like similar to you. And I think there's a couple of things, like, be nice to people on the way up because you don't know who you'll meet on the way down.
On the way down, yeah.
I think that's really important. You know, everybody is valid. If you go into that recording studio, be polite to the receptionist, be nice to the sound engineer. Like, they are humans doing a job. And don't do it because you think, oh, where will they end up one day? But just be kind. Like, be kind. Kindness costs nothing. And you don't know what people are going through in their lives. I think if someone is rude to you, my first feeling is, I wonder what they're going through. I'm just going to remove myself from that because that's probably not actually directed at me.
Yeah.
Like, remove yourself from the situation. It's not all about us, even though we're actors and that's, you know, how we feel. It's not about us. And I think the main thing that I live my whole life by is it's nice to be important, but important to be nice.
Yes.
And I really do try, and I try and instill that in my kids. And it really costs nothing, but it can make, it's karma, right? If you're just a nice person to people, life is so short. If you're just nice and kind and helpful and polite, it will come back to you. And like, we don't know how long we've got here. I don't want to live my life being sad. And if you are feeling like that, of course, I'm not saying it's not valid. We've all been through things. My God, I've been there. Many awful things. We've all been there. But yeah, find help, find a way to get through that, whether it's a friend or a therapist, or like message someone. Don't suffer in silence. Find a way to like get back to finding your light and your joy back in your life. And if you put it out there, yeah, it will come back. It will come back.
Yeah. Very true. Very true. And also to the younger people, if you're going through a rough time, understand something. That is a moment in the grand scheme of your life. I understand, like, and I was actually having to talk to my nephew today, and he's younger. He's like 25 or so, and he's got his first kid. He's, stressed out. He's like, oh, it feels like the world's coming down on me. And I'm just like, kid, this is a moment, and it seems like it's the world's coming down, but it's a moment. This too shall pass. But you got a kid. Don't miss those important moments.
Absolutely. You're so right. Yeah. I think, now that we're old and feel wiser, yeah, like I look back a lot of my life, and how I try to look at it going forwards now is almost like chapters of a book, because you feel like you're saying at that moment that that's it. You'll never get out of it. You're stuck in this, if there's a death, especially, and I've been there, unfortunately, quite a few times, and it's very hard to get yourself out, and how will you ever get through it? But then it is a year later, and you have got a little bit through it, and then it's 2 years later, and it doesn't make it go away, and it doesn't mean you don't think about it. But however you get through that, whether you're calling an uncle or talking to a therapist or a friend, like, find people, don't suffer alone, and know that, as corny as it is, like, time is the most amazing healer, and things will get easier. But reach out, like, never, never, never suffer in silence. I say this to my kids, like, even if you've done something wrong, tell me. I won't be cross. But if you don't tell me, and then it's eating you up inside, that will make me a bit more frustrated, because I want to help you. Like, I'm here to listen. And if you do feel alone, I know the gaming community, there are so many incredible groups out there where people have found like true friendships, and real support networks. And if your support network at the moment isn't working for you, maybe it's time to look elsewhere. But like you said, it's a chapter of your book, and that chapter will end and something new will begin. So yeah, as hard as it is, it will get better.
Yeah. All right. And with that being said, I think we need to do a second podcast. I
would love
I don't know. I there's a lot of things you're like, hey, let's record another podcast. I'm like, yes, let's do that. Let's do another podcast. So I'd love to have you on the show again. This has been an absolute pleasure. Definitely do this again. Other than that, we got to get you out here to Hawaii. I work with the conventions out here, so I'm really putting my foot up their arses trying to get them to,
I would love that.
More people.
Oh my God. So I went to Hawaii. Hang on, how old am I now? 23 years ago, I think I went to Hawaii.
Wow.
As an adult. Oh, I'm so old. Only for a few days, sadly. It wasn't long enough. I was flying from Fiji to LA, so I stopped. And even in those 3-4 days, I still talk about it now as one of my most favorite places. It was just beautiful. Oh my God, I'll come. I'll be there. I'll get on a flight.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm working with there's 3 major conventions out here, and I do press and media for them. And yeah, I'm trying to help them with their process, because the way that they reach out, yes, I'm putting it out there. If y'all are wondering what conventions, Google it. But the way they do this is they reach out to the agents and like, hey, we'd love to have this guest. What's the process? And I'm like, okay, cool, but you're going about it in a way that I would go about it if I'm trying to get a guest on my show. And as David Hayter calls me, the voice whisperer, because I'm very well connected to a lot of voice actors.
I love that. I love that.
And I'm like, let me help you. Oh, how much do you want for this? I don't want anything. Just let me help make this a great experience. Because I feel like, what is the point of having connections if you can't use them to help?
But again, see, nice to be important, but important to be nice.
Yeah.
You are living that. Like, that is literally, you are epitomizing that right there. Nice person. That's lovely. Oh, that's so wonderful.
So we got to get you out here. I will push for that.
I'd be there in a heartbeat. Yeah. Oh, thank you. And thank you so much. Everything that you do for this community is so beautiful. So like, thank you for what you do and for having me on and just, championing games and the gaming community. And it's a really wonderful thing for us to see. And we're so grateful to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Where can people find you?
So I am Insta, TikTok. I think I'm Billie FB _voiceover, but I'm the only Billie Fulford-Brown in the world, luckily. And that is my real name. Before some people are like, why did you choose that name? I'm like, no, I was born with it. But yeah, I think I'm the only one. So if you Google me, website, my Insta, TikTok, everything, X, it's all there. So I'm the only one around. So quite easy to find.
Okay. I'll leave links for all of Billie's social media platforms in the description down below, so make sure you go give her a follow. With that being said, thank you. I also want to thank you for coming on the show, taking time out of your day very early in the morning, but hey, we got kids, so we understand.
Well, and thank you. It's late for you, so same. Thank you so much for making the time to have me.
Of course. And with that being said, I also want to thank Spotify for being the host. Oh, not the way I'm the host. I got that. That's how you know it's late.
Shall I hold this up while you do your Spotify thing?
Yes. I'm over here like, man, see. Anyway, that's how you know it's late, because my brain's like frazzled. Anyways, thank you to Spotify for sponsoring the show and I'm the only podcast in Hawaii that has a show sponsored by Spotify. Only thing is, I have more listeners on Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts than Spotify, so I gotta get y'all over to Spotify. Please go over there. It's like 79 of y'all following on Spotify. Don't look good for a sponsorship, so please go.
And they do great mugs. They do.
I'm like, there's thousands of you guys over on Apple Podcasts. Please migrate. Please. Anyways, thank you, Spotify, for sponsoring the show. And with that being said, we're signing out, people. You have a blessed and aloha rest of your day. We'll see you guys on the next one. Mahalo for your time for listening to this episode of the Kasanova podcast, number one podcast in Hawaii. If you found this episode to be incredibly enjoyable, informative, or if there's anything you gain from it, or any insight, or anything that's good that you really, really enjoy, make sure whatever platform you're listening to it on, or if you're watching it, leave a comment if that's available on the platform, like it, share it around with someone you think would enjoy it, and give us some feedback, because your feedback is exactly what we need to keep this show going. And if you're wondering what are some ways that you could support the show, we got various ways. We've got Patreon, we have channel memberships over on YouTube, as well as Subscribestar, Coffee, and so much more. Links for everything will be in the description of the podcast, so make sure you go check that out. And with all that being said, I hope you have an aloha rest of your day.
Let them know that I'm next level. I'm a whole new kind of guy. Yeah. Yes, at the top spot, in case you forgot. We the ones that got the block hot, bullet got the shot. Yeah.